The sun rose like a golden drumbeat over Oluma's red soil, and the market came alive. Voices flew through the air like birds, bargaining over yams, peppers, and woven cloth. Baskets swelled with mangoes. The smell of charcoal stew floated above everything. Drums played. Laughter rolled. It was the kind of morning that danced on every breeze. She stepped into that rhythm, hidden beneath a plain wrapper, her scarf low, sandals dusted from the road. No gold on her fingers, no guards at her side. Still, the crowd sensed something different about her. Heads turned. Traders paused mid-sentence. Yet she kept walking, heart steady, eyes sharp. A talking drum called from a corner. The old drummer sat with a grin too wide for his wrinkled face. His stick tapped once, then again. He sang low. Even gold walks barefoot when truth is near. No one paid him mind, but his words found her ears. A sudden jolt knocked her off balance. A rough hand caught her wrist. A boy, no, a young man, barefoot and filthy, almost fell into her. His shirt hung in pieces, his face thin but clean. He bowed quickly, eyes kind, voice calm. No fear, no shame. Forgiveness was given without words. A woman cackled by the yam stall. "That's the mad fruit boy," she laughed. "Digs through trash, talks to goats." Others joined in, pointing, smirking. But he didn't flinch. He just bent low, picked up a rotten mango, and studied it like it held secrets. With care, he wiped the fruit on his shirt, tucked it into a satchel that had seen better years. Still he smiled. She couldn't help it. The question slipped from her lips. "Why do you smile when they insult you?" The answer came with a shrug. "Because their words can't tear my spirit. My stomach may be empty, but my heart is not." Before she could reply, a boy's voice sliced through the noise. "That's him. That's the man who fed Mama when she was sick." A child with a scarred leg pointed, face lit like sunrise. He gave all his food and slept hungry. The market hushed for a breath. She stepped back behind a basket of cassava, hiding her eyes. Watching now. Just watching. The young man walked to a clay wall, sat down, peeled an orange, slow, careful, and split it in two. He ate one half. The other he tossed to a goat chewing a mat. The goat munched happily. He chuckled. An old woman leaned close. Her skin was like folded paper. Her voice cracked but strong. "Rich eyes miss humble truths," she said. "But the ones who give without being asked, those hearts were crowns." The fruit vendor called out, snapping her back. She bought a small bag of groundnuts. Her coins clinked into a wooden bowl. She nodded, thanked, but her eyes never left the boy under the neem tree. A cry rose nearby. A baby, wailing in a mother's arms. The young man stood, walked slowly over, and began to hum, a song meant for little ears. The crowd paused. The crying stopped. Even birds seemed to lean closer from the rooftops. Footsteps approached. A quiet voice warned her. Time to go. Questions would come if she stayed longer. She nodded, but her feet hesitated. Her fingers tightened around the pouch of groundnuts. He raised a hand, waved. His voice was soft. "Come again, stranger." No name asked. No favors begged. Just a nod. She turned, walked away. But the market no longer felt loud. The crowd faded behind her. All she could hear were his words, and all she could feel was a question tightening in her chest like a riddle written on wind. What kind of poor man gives away everything he has? The gates opened wide, taller than men, heavier than secrets. Guards nodded. Radios buzzed. The car glided in like a queen returning from war. But inside the walls, the war had just begun. A voice thundered from the balcony, louder than drums, sharper than lightning. Wealth must marry wealth. The voice tossed a newspaper to the wind. Headlines screamed of rich alliances and powerful unions. Names that built cities. Names that crushed silence. Inside the mansion, color sparkled, but warmth was missing. The room overflowed with dresses that had never been worn, shoes that had never touched real ground. In the middle of it all, she sat still, earrings in one hand, her face blank as stone. Invitations piled high on the table. Parties, galas, fundraisers, but none with meaning. A phone buzzed. Another suitor. A familiar message. Same flattery. Same shallow charm. A boy with a Benz and a father who wanted land, not love. The screen lit up. She didn't. The phone flew across the bed and landed face down, where it belonged. Her fingers scrolled through photos, smiling faces, champagne fountains, forced laughter frozen in time. All show, all shadow, none of it hers. Dinner came like a ritual. Gold plates, fine wine, dead silence. Forks moved, voices didn't. Only one voice broke the air. Business, deals, numbers, land sales. No one asked about dreams. No one asked about her. The voice cleared again. News dropped like thunder. A man named Tund, hotel owner. Suit already tailored. Bride price already calculated. Tomorrow's meeting already arranged. She left the table without a word. Up the stairs. Into her room. Door slammed. Silence returned. In the dark, she reached under her pillow and pulled out the scarf. The one from the market. She held it gently, like it knew things. A memory rose like smoke. You're rich and beautiful. That's enough. The voice belonged to a suitor from months ago. She had walked out mid-sentence. Another memory stepped forward. You don't need her answer. You're the one with the power. That one had spoken to her father while ignoring her completely. The ceiling didn't respond. But one voice did. The one from the dusty market. My stomach may be empty, but my heart is not. She whispered it back like a spell. Then she stood, pulled on a hoodie, covered her face, slipped out the back gate. No guards, no noise, just footsteps. The night air smelled different outside the compound. Reeler, roar. A streetlight flickered as she flagged a taxi and gave no destination. A familiar voice called from behind a broom. Where are you going dressed like that? The broom paused. Eyes stared. Just a walk. No more questions. The broom moved again. The wind carried her forward. The city lights shrank in the rear view like stars fading before dawn. Goats crossed the road like kings. In the distance, drums began to hum. The phone rang again. She let it ring. The screen begged. She turned it off. You can't follow your heart in a gold cage. The market smelled of roasted corn and fried akra. She found an old woman selling corn. Bought one. Gave double. Keep the change. The woman stared. You look rich. The reply came with a smile. Not today. The neem tree stood tall, just like before. But its bench was empty. A child nearby said, he left before the sun. She nodded. Her face didn't move. But something inside her slipped. She waited. Her eyes scanned every barefoot boy that passed. None wore the truth she had seen before. A shout broke out nearby. A young man arguing with an elder. I want love, not a dowry. The crowd laughed, but she didn't. She smiled softly. She looked up. Her lips moved with no audience. He didn't know who I was, and still respected me. The words hung like fruit above a child's head. Then a rhythm shifted. The talking drum returned. Same beat. Same warning. Truth walks in dust before it wears a crown. Her eyes scanned the crowd. Hopes whispered. She didn't move. Just waited. Not for a prince. For something deeper. For a man who gave his last fruit to a goat. She returned to the market with a basket full of books and a smile full of lies. Her words said she came to help the children. Her eyes searched for someone else. He saw her first. That smile, half tease, half truth. The rich girl had returned. She smiled back, but not too much. Pride and curiosity walked side by side. Bananas waited. Rotten ones in one pile. Fresh ones in another. Her hands trembled. His didn't. He showed her the trick. Soft but not mushy. Sweet but not spoiled. She tried. Failed. Laughed. Tried again. Children gathered. They always did when stories came. She opened a picture book. Words spilled from her lips like honey. Little ones clapped. One crawled onto her lap. None cared where she came from. But eyes watched from shadows. Rings on fingers. Gold around neck. Her cousin leaned behind a curtain. Jaw tight. Eyes sharper than razors. Later, near the fire pit, she asked the question most never dared. He didn't pause. True wealth can't be seen. She frowned. That didn't make sense. More can sometimes mean emptier. At home, her cousin whispered lies wrapped in truth. She's mixing with commoners. She's digging in dirt for love. The aunt frowned. That was all it took. In the market, fire roasted plantains. He handed her one. She burned it. He laughed. Even queens can learn. She stuck out her tongue. Roasted another. They shared stew under a baobab tree. Children passed spoons around. One boy said nothing but took 2 bites. She gave him the last piece. The man beside her nodded. Nothing more. Something warm passed between them. No words. No promises. Just knowing. A click came from the shadows. A picture. A smile. A betrayal. The cousin grinned as she sent it to the father who trusted no one outside his own gold. The next morning, the girl woke before sunrise. One voice echoed in her mind. Poverty is loud, but kindness is louder. She packed a shirt in her bag. Something simple. Something new. She handed it to him that day. He touched it but didn't take it. Don't buy what is already true. She nodded. Quietly folded it back. They watched a wedding pass through the village. Drums, ululations, dancers in beads. He explained each ritual. She listened as if hearing the future. But in the corner, the cousin whispered again. A message to a hungry reporter. A headline being born. He vanished the next day. Not a word. Not a signal. She searched. The stall vendor shrugged. He comes and goes like the wind. When he returned, he looked the same, but something behind his smile had changed. Just needed time to think. She didn't believe him, but she didn't press. The next time he walked away, she followed. A scarf over her face. Barefoot, silent. He climbed on a dusty motorcycle and rode toward the hills. She hired a boda without thinking twice. The road bent and twisted, then ended. At the top stood an iron gate taller than her father's pride. Men in black suits stood still. One stepped aside when he spoke. They let him through like he owned the sky. She ducked behind a bush, heart in her mouth. A silver SUV purred past. Inside sat a man whose face filled magazines. She'd seen him once at a government dinner. Why was he here with the fruit boy? She peeked again. He wasn't bowing. He was shaking hands, nodding with power, speaking with weight. No one looked down on him here. Then her eyes caught the sign. Adeyemi Innovations. Private compound. Her breath stopped. Adeyemi. The name from the news. The tech genius. The billionaire no one had seen. The one who built water systems for the North. She remembered his words. True wealth is invisible. A lie. A truth. A storm. She turned. Dust rose with her tears. Who are you? Back at the market. He returned. Same clothes. Same voice. As if nothing happened. She didn't speak. But her eyes asked the question the world forgot how to answer. Why does a beggar need bodyguards? The drums began before the sun had fully risen. Cloths waved high, children danced low, and the crowd swelled like a storm gathering over red soil. Hands clapped, feet stomped, eyes glowed with expectation. She stood among them, dressed not as a daughter of wealth, but as someone seeking peace. Her dress was plain. Her face wore questions. She smiled for the children, but her heart wandered elsewhere. The elder took the stage with a voice like thunder wrapped in honey. He raised his hand. All went still. He spoke of kindness. He spoke of mystery. He said the spirits had chosen two to be honored. Then came the name. Seo. Billionaire. Kato Adeyemi. Whispers cracked like dry branches. Heads turned. Jaws dropped. Fingers pointed. That's the fruit seller boy. The man who once begged for rotten mangoes, now walked like the wind, had made space for him. Blue agbada sharp as a blade. Gold watch gleaming. No dust on his feet. No sack of fruit in sight. She froze. Her mouth stayed shut, but her soul screamed. He stood at the podium, quiet as the sky before rain. The crowd leaned in. He scanned the faces. His eyes found hers. Then he spoke. I once slept in dust, but by choice. Even the birds stopped flying. I wanted to see who would see me, without my crown. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't defend. He explained. Each word fell like a seed into fire. She stepped back. One hand gripped her scarf. Her throat burned. Then came the line meant for only her. I owe you the truth. He paused. You taught me what real worth feels like. The crowd watched. The drums stayed silent. But she turned, slowly, quietly, not a tear on her face. But the ground beneath her cracked as she walked away. Cameras flashed. Billionaire girl storms out on secret CEO. The cousin smiled. Her fingers danced across the phone screen. The father saw it first. His face turned red. His voice boomed. What nonsense is this? The girl stepped inside. He roared again. You almost shamed this family. A newspaper flew across the marble floor. She didn't break. He's more man than all your suitors. He didn't want my money. He wanted my trust. The table shook. A fist hit wood. He lied. That's all I see. No one spoke. Even the chandelier stopped swinging. Then came the final blow. The cousin struck once more. A video leaked. Split screen. On one side, the boy giving away oranges to children. On the other, the man signing contracts in a glass tower. Manipulative, the caption read, acting rich, acting poor. The crowd roared again, but this time, in comment sections, judging, mocking, devouring. He sat alone in a dark room. The laptop screen glowed. Should we respond? No. Let truth do its work in silence. He scrolled. Fake, liar, clout chaser. His hands trembled, but he kept scrolling. Then he opened a file. Old pictures. Her smile in the market. Laughter over grilled plantains. Silence under the neem tree. He closed the file. No words. Outside, elders argued under a tree. Was his disguise wise or wicked? One tapped a pipe. Even the tortoise hides its shell in sand. But the boys in the village? They didn't argue. He played with us. He fed us. CEO or not, he cared. He sat near the fountain. The water didn't sing. It whispered, maybe I found her too late, or lost her too early. She scrolled too, alone in a gold room that felt like stone. The comments bit into her like teeth. They don't know him like I do. A hand reached for her shoulder. She pulled away. You wanted this. Don't pretend to care now. Downstairs, the father dialed a number that opened doors and closed lives. No man disrespects me and gets away. Make sure his name stays in the dirt. At a boardroom far away, Suits whispered. The shareholders are nervous. Let them wait. I have nothing to hide. Then came the letter. No flowers, no phone call, just paper, folded, handwritten, her name on the front. She held it all day, never opened it. Only the wind moved. The decision was coming, but not yet. She sat near the garden that once belonged to her mother. The flowers no longer bloomed, but the bees still came. The letter in her hand felt heavier than gold. Folded, unopened, her name written with care. She held it for hours. Then she read, I didn't lie to hide. I hid to be seen. If you still believe in truth, meet me at gate 12. The words broke something, then built something new. Laughter echoed in her head. His laughter. That day with the orange peel and the goat. That moment when he said kindness didn't ask for praise. The way his hands moved when feeding a child. The way he smiled after giving away his only meal. She walked through the youth center gate without guards. Without anyone announcing her name. Barefoot children ran past, chasing each other like dreams. On the wall, a banner hung, gifted in honor of Adana Emeka. Her eyes widened. No mention of him. Behind the main door, a plaque was nailed low and crooked. Donated by Adeyemi Foundation. Quiet. Hidden. No spotlight. Only truth. A woman sweeping the floor smiled. Your husband did this. She blushed. He's not my husband. The woman chuckled. Not yet. Far from there, a confidential file landed on her father's table. The aide spoke low. His filters brought clean water to 40 villages. No payment, just results. The man who roared now leaned back in silence. Eyes closed, hands still. Even the walls around him seemed unsure. She entered her cousin's room, holding the leaked clip. Voice steady. Why? The cousin crossed her arms. Because you always get everything. Claps echoed. Slow. Mocking. Let's see how you feel when it's taken. The air turned thick. But the reply came quick. I found something real. You lost yourself. From the hallway, aunties listened. Whispered. Judgment moved like smoke. A shaky laugh tried to rise. It failed. He played you like a flute. No answer came. Just footsteps walking out. The elders were called. The family council sat. Voices crashed like waves on stone. Some defended tradition. Others defended power. This isn't love. It's about name. One voice rose above all. Do you still trust him? She nodded. Then go. But if he hurts you, he faces me. She kissed his hand. Then she ran. Across town, a man watched the clock in silence. Gate 12 flashed final boarding. His fingers tapped the duffel bag once. Then stopped. The loudspeaker called his flight. One last time. He stood. Scanned the crowd. Nowhere. Somewhere on a rough road. A driver sped through goats and gossip. Her voice cut the air. Faster, please. She reached the airport breathless. Sandals nearly broken. Scarf dancing behind her. A guard stepped forward. She waved her ticket like a sword. Gate 12 blinked. The doors prepared to close. A child dropped a soda can. The sound made him turn. He saw her. They froze. Everything else faded. He stepped back 2 paces. She stepped forward 3. Why are you here? Because you never asked for anything, but gave me everything. I lied about who I was, but you never lied about how you treated me. No crowd clapped. No music played. Just 2 people and truth. She whispered the final line like a prayer. You showed me my real self. That's worth more than any crown. And you loved me when I had none. Their hands met in silence. The duffel bag swung to the other side. The board blinked again. Flight 785. Departed. But their journey? It was just beginning. The drums no longer played. Only the wind carried the story now. Soft, low, like a river that remembers. A crown is not always worn on the head. The tale settled, like dust after storm. And the village listened. They gathered at the youth center, eyes full of wonder. Carved into the wood above the doorway were 5 simple words. Adana Community House. Inside, children sang in a circle. Their laughter rose like smoke from a fresh fire. No phones, no noise, just joy passed from hand to hand. On the far wall, 2 faces looked back. A girl once called rich, a boy once called poor. Below them, the words, "True wealth builds others." The elders nodded, wrinkles deep, eyes deeper. One whispered, "Their love made us richer than gold ever could." At the edge of the market, she walked alone. No crowd followed. No greetings met her steps. Dark glasses, high heels, a silence louder than shame. A shopkeeper turned away. "We do not greet liars here." She stopped. Her breath caught. Then she walked on. Back at the estate, her room remained locked. No yelling, no punishments, just silence so heavy it cracked mirrors. In the main hall, a man sat before a portrait, eyes damp, voice low. She chose better than I ever taught her to. Across the village, drums returned. But this time, they danced for love. Not power, no chariots, no diamonds, no foreign dancers. Just firewood, songs, and open hearts. He arrived on foot, his robe simple, his smile full. She wore her mother's beads. Old, beautiful, enough. Their vows came in native tongue. Short, honest, sacred. An elder tied their wrists with cowrie shells and called it done. "I give you my name, but more, my truth, and I give you my peace." The crowd did not cheer loudly, but the sound reached the sky. Long live the 2 who walk as one. A sudden rain kissed the ground. Elders raised their hands and danced barefoot in the mud. Even the sky honors truth. That night, laughter flew like birds. Stories circled the fire. Names were spoken with joy. Mistakes forgiven under stars. They sat beneath the baobab tree. No titles, no crowns, just 2 souls at rest. A bowl of groundnut soup arrived. Still hot, still spicy. See what happens when you marry a village boy? The tale drew to a close. So the fruit seller and the gold-born girl found what many seek but never find. Not status, not power, but truth wrapped in dust. And as the story passed from grandmother to child, the final words fell slow. Love isn't found in gold. It's hidden in truth, tested in silence, and revealed in time. The fire still glowed, and the drums remembered.